Thanks for staying with us on this segment. We will be speaking with a cancer survivor. She'll be sharing her cancer story in a bid to give hope to others. Welcome with us, Yinka Sowemimo-Coker. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
You know, once in a while, we like to bring in people who have survived cancer to share their stories. I remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I was telling somebody that I felt like a kind of lump somewhere in my chest here, and I got scared. I didn't even think twice. I went straight to go and get a mammogram. You know, I did because I was like, I've had too much information on this show to even ask questions. I didn't even tell my husband, I didn't tell anybody. Immediately, I went straight to the hospital to get it checked. So and it was fine. But tell us about your story and how you got to the point of diagnosis and then your healing process.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. This was in 2018, and I knew I was ill. I knew there was something wrong with me, but I couldn't just place it. So I live in England, and most of the time you have to go to your GP, and I kept on going to my GP, and they would tell me, oh, you're anemic, you know, because I felt tired. I was weak. I couldn't climb the steps. It happened the first day. The steps to my house was about 13. And normally within 1 minute, I would just fume and down, you know. But on this particular day, I knew I just couldn't climb it. And I was told to see my GP. So I went to see the GP, and the GP said, okay, I will refer you. They referred me to one of the hospitals, my local hospital. And when I got there, I was told that, oh, I'm short of blood, I'm anemic, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. So they gave me 2 pints of blood and 1 pint of iron transfusion. And I went back home. I was here, you know, with the blood level up now. I was energized and I could do a lot of things. And all of a sudden, come nighttime, I was weak again. So I called my GP at about 6 o'clock, because they close at 6. So about a few minutes to 6. And they said, oh, come very early in the morning at 7:30. So I went, okay, good. I went, and by that time they wouldn't have opened anyway. So they left a note for me to rush back to the hospital. I went back there, and the same thing. So they started all the tests, the various tests, and there was no test I did not do. All manners of tests. But for 1 whole year, I was just told I was anemic. During that time, I used to be a size 18. Yeah, sometimes my top is a 20, you know.
Wow.
And they now told me, oh, are you tired? I said, of course I'm tired, you know. And all the symptoms were there.
Right.
I was jaundice, I had pains, unexplainable weight loss, and...
for a year in the UK, they just told you
UK,
it was just an anemia.
yeah. So on this particular day, then my dad died. Came back here, and I was told immediately I come back, make sure you go back, report yourself to the hospital. So I did that, and really and truly, by the time I got back, my blood level was low again. But it was on this particular day, on the December, and I was in and out of hospital 4 days, 5 days, in and out. And on this particular day, I was told that my husband now said, look, you need to go to seek second opinion, which I did. And it was at that second opinion, they now took me to another hospital, which is King's College Hospital. And it was there I was diagnosed that was 3rd of January 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer, pancreatic cancer. And as at that time, I was told there's no possibility that I may not make it. Because as at that time, I was frail. I was like a 92-year-old woman. I was really frail. And that was it. That's the story, you know. And then...
But I hear pancreatic is one of the worst.
Yes, it is.
You had it. So my mother had pancreatic cancer.
Oh, yes.
And it was stage 4.
Yeah.
What stage was yours in?
I was early stage 4. Yeah. I was just leaving. Yeah. And they were telling me that if I had waited 1 more week, that would... In short, I wouldn't have even survived it at all. And as at that time, I did my tests and all those things, and I went through almost 11 hours of surgery. I was there from 8, they started at 8, and I did not come out until about 8:30 at night.
So, let's establish this. The UK medical team They were not able to detect. They missed it for a
Eventually-
full year.
Yeah.
But later, when you sought a second
Opinion.
yeah. So I would also like you to advise people who sometimes they just stay with one hospital and then they are taking treatments, but they are not seeing results on how to go about it using your story. That's one.
Yeah.
Then secondly, I would like you to take us through your healing process. The tests that you did, the medications that you got, and how was the support you had that helped you, heal?
Now, first thing first, when you have a kind of illness that is persistent, never relent. It happens all over the world. Never relent. Don't say, oh, because it is England, then they are perfect. No, there's no perfect country, So that is one thing. There's no perfect country. It could happen anywhere, but just be persistent. And then sometimes you will go to to your GP, and your GP will say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are the owner of your body. Yes. You own your body. So you tell them, look, I am not feeling fine. And if anything happens to me, then you'll be responsible. And you now see that things will now change. It will change. But there are some hospitals, I want to balance it up. There are some hospitals that are really diligent, But that doesn't mean that people won't die in that hospital. Yeah. They do still die, but just be persistent. Yeah. That's just it. When you know that there's something wrong with you, make sure you keep on banging on it.
And the support you got during healing. Support you got during your healing.
Yeah, my healing process, it was good. I was blessed in the sense that I had a good team. My surgeon was, in short, one of the best surgeons, in England. And, when you have a kind of surgery that I had, most of the time you don't even see your surgeon again. But with me, I kept on seeing my surgeon because I was one of those surgeons that used a kind of special, it was a kind of treatment, Yeah, it was an invention which they used, and he was good. So he kept on seeing me. Even though I left the hospital after about 2 months, when I was rushed back again within 1 week. There was the water fluid behind my lungs. So they had to take me back for another 4 days, 1 week. And the team was good. I was looked after, and I was given a carer, to look after me. And don't forget, the surgery is from the left to the right. From the right to the left, all through. Everywhere. Yeah. And as at the time I was discharged, I had an open wound. Wow. So, and they could not put it back again. So they had to put like a kind of plastic around it so that for infection purpose, which, and I had people coming to treat me at home and things like that. And apart from this, the medical, I had my church. Yeah, I had my church. One thing I know is that in any community in which you are, always have somebody. I have my family. I have a very close-knit family, and they were there for me. My siblings were there. They were all coming from England, America, Nigeria, to come and support me. And even though I had my carers as well to support me, my carers, top-notch. They were good. I had one particular carer for 1 whole year, who was really very good. So,
the treatments, because what just reminded me, this is very close to home. We've experienced this, and the treatment was one of the things that we didn't understand why and how it was done. What kind of treatment exactly did you get? Did you do chemo? Did you do?
Yes, apart from the surgery, I had chemo, and it was 6 months. I had 6 months surgery, and it was every other week. Now, what I want to elaborate on, it's that cancers differ. You have different kinds of cancers, over 100 and whatever cancers they have, But whatever kind of cancer you have, there is always the low, medium, and maximum level they give you. It depends on your tolerance. If your tolerance is low, then you're not able to have the high dose. I had the highest dose because I was told that without the highest dose, in short, I'm a goner, So I had to have it, Some people, I think we were about 8 in the clinical team, and almost everybody passed away, And so that is regarding the treatment.
So I want to
And then, sorry, please. And then you have your dietitian as well, who will have to work with you, you know, and dietitians
Sounds like a
differ.
perfect health system, because I'm trying to
Yes,
I'm
sounds
really trying really hard to relate it to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because one of the things what we want
It
to do
is.
is to inspire. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is exactly the line of action, line of question I wanted to ask, because we're talking to the people you're talking to right now, less than 1% of them, less than 1% of them would have access to the kind of health support and healthcare that you had. And yet we need to give them hope that it is possible for them to survive. So I'd like us to talk about your mental state, because that's the one thing we can give to those watching
connect
right
with
now.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please, can you tell us about what was your mental state? Were there other people who had your similar conditions to yours that didn't make it? And what would you feel was, aside from all the medical care, how did the mental state support?
Yeah. And, okay, I was transferred to about 6 wards while I was there in the hospital. And you can now imagine when every time you are in a ward, somebody dies just beside you. In the morning, in the night you say good night. In the morning, that person is no more. In the afternoon, you are saying you're having a nap. You're just hearing them pulling the wheel all over the place. The person is gone. You know, so you can imagine the trauma that goes on in your head. You know, but one thing kept me, my faith. You know, and I want to say it is not about you know how to pray. It's not about the prayer, but it's about the mercy of God. You know, it's about the mercy. Yes, the prayer is key, you know, but it's about the mercy and love. You know, sometimes it is not the cancer that kills. It's the fear of the unknown that destroys. You know, my doctor told me one thing, that if I tell a patient that you have cancer, her response will tell me whether that person will survive or not. You know, so one thing is that the fear is what we must take away, because really and truly, cancer is like, I know it's a terrible disease, but it's like any other kind of disease. People have headache and they die. Yeah. You know, you can be going on the main road and somebody, and that is it.
Going back to what Tokwe has said earlier concerning the emotional connect, I like to the moment you got diagnosed, that time, give us an idea of what was going through your mind, or the options you're thinking. Like, okay, how would you, that moment, tell us about it.
Now, for me, it was a different scenario. When the doctors came in, and my husband was there, my family were there, and they said, oh, Mrs. Coker, I'm so sorry, you have pancreatic cancer. I said, no, that wasn't what God told me. That was my first reaction. You will not believe it. And you know, they will tell you, is this woman, have you gone cuckoos? You know, I said, no. I said, in the first place, God was the one that created me, and he created me beautifully. And because he created me beautifully, he decides to reside in me. And how can light and darkness, because cancer really is darkness, you know, how can light and darkness cohabit? That was my first reaction, you know. And I just, you know, sometimes you can, if it's what you have that you pour out. It was the Bible verses that I was able to remember as at that time that I used, and that was what really helped me. And I don't ask God, please, that faith that is as little as a mustard seed, I just need that faith to carry on, because it's a long journey. It's a long journey, and you cannot go along with it on your own, because let me tell you, sometimes your mindset, even now, sometimes after the whole thing, you feel lonely inside you. When you've gone through cancer, you feel really lonely.
So let's talk about the support, you know, social support that you might have had, or do you even have one that you have created because you know because you suffered a lack of it?
Yeah. During my time, unfortunately, I didn't have one, but there was this hospice I was taken to. It's called the Greenwich and Bexley Hospice. They were the one who sent a befriender to me, you know. And when they send a befriender to you, they will be there for 1 hour. You don't want to talk about cancer. It's just something else. It could be movies, it could be anything, just to distract you away, you know. And the way they come in is so silent, you know, they just tell you things, and by the time you know what is happening, that 1 hour is gone. And, you know, sometimes they might say, oh, do you want to go and watch a movie? They will pay for it, you know. And that was one of the things that I saw that was actually lacking in the midst of we black people. For the British, they have a lot of support.
Could it also be because we have family here? They don't have a lot of family close-knit.
No, it's not because of that. Because majority of us really don't speak out. I'm telling you, majority of us, we don't speak out. It is by the time you know what is happening, it has spread or that person is gone. And they'll tell, I have a black family who lives very close to my house. I saw her, I was battling mine as at that time because really and truly, I couldn't go to the toilet on my own. I could not use my limbs. These limbs that you saw me walking, I couldn't use it. My husband had to carry me. You know, my children will have to carry me. My nurse will have to carry me, you know. But how many people would want that kind of thing to happen?
So did you pay for this out of pocket or was
No,
it government?
it was government. It was a government, you know. Everything that I went through was the government that supported, the NHS, they supported us, you know. And that is one of the things why I get so infuriated about Nigerians. Majority of us go abroad. Majority of our politicians, they go abroad. But why can't you utilize this same support system here? Because it's a robust system. One, your health, they will have to, your diet, they will be there. Your day-to-day activity, your medication. And don't forget, even the medication I took, it is very expensive. Some, it is close to £2,000 per one tablet.
Yes.
Per one tablet. So you can imagine, but we can do it.
Yes,
we can actually do it. We have people who have money in this country. If it is only for this particular hospital for cancer patients, they can do it.
Yeah.
It can be done, you know, because they sacrifice themselves too, you know. And that was one of the things I saw, and that was how I started.
So you're going to talk about
the changer.
Okay, the changer.
Yes, the changer. And what does the changer mean? The changer means God that turned around my situation for good. Because really and truly, I was really down, you know, and God just changed it, turned it around, you know. And how did he turn it around? From being nothing, you know, from being on the floor, and he raised me up, you know. And that was why I said, the changer. That is the name I'm going to give.
That's the name to your foundation.
And what is the changer all about? The changer is to support it's a non-profit voluntary organization. It's a Christian non-voluntary organization that supports people from when diagnosed with cancer, during, after, and full recovery. Because we found out that even during full recovery, you still feel very lonely. And what do? We take them out for brunch, you know.
As in Nigeria or outside Nigeria?
No, in England.
Oh, so the
changer, yeah.
In England?
Yeah, the changer. We have few members here. I'm actually taking them out tomorrow, you know. So we have them here.
So only subscribed members?
It depends on those who approach us, you know. Those that approach us, you know.
It's registered in England and it helps people.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Well
you
done.
know, even though they will tell us that the funding that is being given to us by the organization is supposed to be utilized in England. But because we do our own funding, extra funding, we still help people. We can't forget our home.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you. And congratulations on the fact that you were healed.
Yes, in the name of Jesus. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
so that's all we can take on today's show. I hope we learned a few things. We have a few comments on social media on this, or we can move on. Let's see if we can take one or two.
I got engrossed in the session.
All right. Okay. All right. So that's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.